Shalom, shalom, mishpaka, shalawam, kwam yasharala. Look at this article I came across a little bit ago. Look at the number there. Shouldn't have to explain it. Look at those numbers right there in the middle. That middle paragraph. This says, I guess I'll give you a second to read it, or I can read it to you. This is from the U.S. Sun. Bank of America exec insists customers will find new locations after 1,144 U.S. bank branches abruptly closed. And this article was from yesterday. Right? Today's the 23rd, yeah. And this is the same article. In the middle there it says these three states make up almost 42% of banking failures for the past 23 years. Now, here's another article regarding the same thing, just for confirmation, because I don't know the credibility of that newspaper we just quoted. But if you go look, there's all kinds of them, all kinds of different papers and organizations that wrote articles about this. This one, though, says closures this year 1,114. But now, as of yesterday, there's 1,144, or as of the day before yesterday, because this article was written on the 21st. Now, I don't have to explain why those numbers are significant to those who will know right away why they're significant. That's preaching to the choir. For anyone who would say, what's that matter? That's just a coincidence. When it comes to this kind of stuff, I doubt that there's any coincidence. Look at that number there in the third paragraph down. That first number right there. Total of 201 bank branches. And then, when I went and looked at those articles, I found this article. House Resolution Act or Bill 1144, Department of Veterans Affairs Telehealth Strategy Act. Sounds like they're just wanting to help out the veterans, doesn't it? Well, then I went and looked up what the telehealth is. What is telehealth? Some examples of telehealth include a virtual visit with a health care provider through a phone call or video chat, remote patient monitoring, which lets your provider check in on you while you're at home. Someone who don't know what the numbers mean, or someone like most that just thinks I'm insane, might be saying, yeah, this is just for the veterans. But if you go look in that bill, and I'm not going to do that to you, I saw what it says. It's not just for the vets. This is how they operate. They put a pretty bow on something, cherry or a candle on top, and they slip it in you while you're not looking. Old sleight of hand. That's how they do that sort of thing. And isn't it a coincidence that I saw these things tonight, and this morning I was feeling led to not scare anyone, but encourage all, and to suggest that the door might be closing pretty soon, and that we need to run on out to meet the bridegroom. I wanted to strongly encourage all to not wait until the last minute. Don't live life on the edge like that, guys. And it's just a coincidence, isn't it? And then tonight I see these, and this morning when I was thinking that, I saw that video that I played for you, that I hope you all went and watched, all of it. And the beginning of that, well, right around the beginning, like the second segment of that video I played this morning, when it was showing all them 9/23 dates from movies and stuff, I've been talking about that for a while. I've seen that in a lot of movies myself. A lot of people have been talking about that. But I would never say that something would happen on that day just because it's in all the movies. But being how they coded it into I Pet Goat like that with the rabbit, this is the year of the rabbit too, if you didn't know. Yeah, something's bound to happen. And then and I can go ahead and pretty much say with all faith and confidence that something is going to happen before the calendar flips to 2024. And that's because I heard a couple guys saying that they heard from Joe Rogan and Jones that that in the middle of September they're gonna roll out a new mask mandate, and then in the middle of October they're gonna further that mandate and enforce it on planes and whatever, like anywhere, like buses and all that stuff. Which, me and you probably aren't getting on a plane anytime soon, or a Greyhound. It'll be like before. But if you remember, Mr. Gates has been saying this whole time that the next case of the bed bugs are gonna be the one that really gets you. They said that it'll be targeting children. So we kind of knew this whole time that the first one was just like a trial run, right? But then look here. Check this out, y'all. Oh, wait.
Should get ready for the next one. And they're telling us it's going to be worse than before, and that it's going to specifically be targeting children. Children's hospitals already getting ready for this. Last week, Chelsea Clinton. Last week, the World Health Organization told us that the pandemic is over, but we should get ready for the next one. And they're telling us it's going to be worse than before, and that it's going to specifically be targeting children. Children's hospitals already getting ready for this. Last week, Chelsea Clinton announced her plan to get every child vaccinated and caught up to speed. She says the timing of this is all amazing, isn't it, when they're warning us that children will be the target of the next pandemic?
Most of us believe, if I had the pandemic to go over again, I would push back. But if you drag my kids into it, I don't know that I'm going to be ready for that.
Though media organizations are asking the real questions as to why they're actively getting us ready for this next pandemic. Like, why are they telling us that this is going to happen? And then these leaders telling us that this was all coming, and then a few months later it comes? Why are these people not dragged before prosecutorial bodies and questioned? The next stage of COVID is starting now, they're telling us. You have to close down the trial run first in order to make way for the real pandemic, which is the big one. Bill Gates talks about number one on his list is surveillance. He wants to spend $1 billion making sure that we have this infrastructure in place on surveillance. So we'd be watching everybody, how these vaccines are distributed, your movements.
Surveillance is on the World Health Organization's pandemic treaty. They're working to pass in the next few days.
Yeah, so this is all timely.
Surveillance that would surpass the laws in wherever you live. Just global power.
It would supersede your nation, your sovereignty, and it would cede power to this global alliance of these unelected billionaires.
It's funny that he said, why aren't these leaders, or however he worded it, dragged in front of judges and prosecuted? And someone like him, that Clayton Morris, it's like he has to know the answer to that. He's either, there's no way he doesn't know the answer to that. He's either pretending not to know, so just to pander to his audience because he wants those numbers to keep rising, And why would he want that? Why would he want those numbers to rise? Could it be any reason other than his bank account getting bigger? Yeah, he might be a nice guy and want to help someone. I don't know. I can't say, but the putting on those sorts of motives, it's not hard to see. But you see these people like his wife was like, now when the kids are involved, that's when it's laughable that these people, there's so many people, I see them on Facebook, they all know, like I said this morning, been saying, everyone knows what's coming. And it's so funny to see people sit and say that they're not going to put up with it, that no way this time is it going to happen. What, like last time? What, like Maui? What, like all the other things that you get forced down your throat regardless of whether you like it or not? And what's really sad is when it does come, there will come a time when push comes to shove, when they're saying, you want to go back to normal? They're asking them the question. You better roll up your sleeve and put this on your face and on your child's face and roll their sleeve up, or we're shutting your business down. We're taking your bank account. Those same people that right now are saying, it's not happening this time, they will be saying, just do it. It's for the greater good. They will be promoting it. They'll be the type of people, and this is sad to say, I'm not saying this because I enjoy that, my gosh, or that I hope that happens. I know that's what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. They'll be snitching on their own family members, neighbors. just like they did before, just like we've been warned they would. The Messiah has warned us. And I was looking through some scripture a little bit ago, and still, because I'm still pondering on how I should say things, and and the thought always crosses my mind, like, if I'm sure that people don't like when I use what they call curse words. When I say words like shit or something, I'm sure they say, I'm not listening to him. And so those kind of things cross my mind. I get thinking, like, man, maybe I should try to, definitely not say any words that they feel are cuss words, which are not cuss words. I should definitely cut that out, and I should maybe not try to not sound so rednecky. Maybe I shouldn't play my, bass thumping hip hop sounding beats anymore. Maybe I could cut all that out, and then maybe they'll hear this message. And wouldn't you know it, the first scripture I popped open, I think it was in Corinthians, and it was Paul talking about being a friend of speech and building up, like sharpening your tongue or something like that. And at first I was like, oh yeah, see, that is what I should do. But then I went to Job and read some of Job, and it says the exact opposite. It says, this is Job, and say what you want about me, I can say with confidence that every word that has been written down in the Bible by the hand or mouth of Paul or Peter, when it's their opinion, when it's man's opinion, it's man's opinion. I don't hold it in the same regard as I do when the Messiah talks, when guys like Job talk. Now, he was just a man too, and this is why. It's not just because I want to. It's been proven. It's tried and tested with me. I've never seen any error in what Paul and Peter and them guys write. But I've had truth routinely over and over confirmed to me when the Most High talks, and anything back in the Old Testament and stuff, it's like it's a sure bet. And when you read Peter and Paul, yes, they are like-minded. They're saying things that I would have probably said, but you can tell that it's commentary, that it's noteworthy, and yeah, repeat that kind of stuff, but there's a chance that their opinions could be off. even if just slightly. So when I've seen Job saying, the Most High, who are you to try and dumb down this, and I'm paraphrasing, dumb down your speech so the Most High will understand you. The Most High who moves mountains and creates seas and all these things. And who, why, what good is it going to do you if you're doing it so you can better appeal to people, to men, so they'll get the message. The truth is, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but the truth is, and this is the truth, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, the truth is the people that will complain about my speech, it doesn't matter, because they're overlooking truth right there, and they need it to be plushy and sweet in order for them to even come hear the word. And more importantly than that, the people who are going to come anyways, who are going to make it, they'll take messages out of your from your lips, but they're just like you and me. They're at the word, hungry and thirsty, just like you and me. They're reading it for themselves. And so that's kind of, I think, the moral of today's story, y'all. The conclusion for today. I believe that it is my job to be on my face and give Abba Yahuwah all the praise, all the honor, all the glory, and all the esteem. I mean, he is, in fact, Abba Yahuwah, the Most High, our wonderful Creator, our righteousness. So that's a given. And this is how I do it. And I do it out here in the world, but that's not enough, so I got to get on here and spit it out here on the internet so someone that I haven't came in contact with today can maybe hear some. And I get to show some things that I probably wouldn't get to show people out here in the real world when I'm just passing by or something like that. And just because I really have no hope, I have hope, but I really have no faith in people just coming and getting this word, this message. All the people I'm thinking of anyways. Like if you look here on Facebook, and it goes right along, like all these things do, hand in hand with what he's been showing us. The Torah and everything, we have to love the Most High with all our strength and all our might. But the things that you see most, the average believers talking about, are things we've been talking about. You'll see people, and this one here really, it just really gets me. When you see someone saying, how do they say it? They'll say, type yes if you're someone who knows that there's only two genders, that the Most High only made two genders, male and female. Stuff like that. All kinds of conversation being had. Energy. You can tell that it's intense sometimes, and these people are just going hard in the paint on all these things. But the wedding supper, they won't even look at it. And they'll say, if someone were to say, hey, did you see what Dottie's talking about? Or whoever it is that's talking about this. If they said, hey, did you see what Brother Bill, he's talking about the wedding supper and that Israel over there, the state, Zion, state of Israel is a false image. Did you see that? If they were talking about me, I'm sure a lot of them be like, yeah, I don't, how could you listen to Dottie? I mean, he says shit like twice a week, and you know, did you hear that music he's listening to? I know that's said because I've heard it said myself. I've had people tell me that lots of times. So I could pander like Clayton Morris for the people, and I could pretend to not see certain things, like all pastors basically do. Anyone who claims to be a teacher, and I am not. They do, because falsehood wouldn't be taught the way it does and promoted the way it is if the prospect of money wasn't involved. It just wouldn't. How many people speaking the word, whether online or in a building or on a megaphone, how many of those people do you see that are willing to just tell it how it is? And they don't want the people to walk away, but that does not matter. They don't care if the offering plate doesn't get filled. They don't want an offering plate. How many do you see like that? That's why that we have the falsehood past our eyeballs the way we do right now. And so I could pander to the people to try and win them over, not for money obviously, but just so the message gets out there more. But anyone I could think of that I could try and appeal to more and make myself more attractive to them, those people, there's always going to be some reason. There's always going to be that line drawn in the sand that they're not going to cross. And so I'm going to say something that I've been thinking for a while. I haven't really let myself think about it too much, and I don't think I've ever said it out loud, but I think like the 144,000 or the gathering of it, or like a good number of it, is probably already here. We're not aware of one another. Because, you know, how many times do I got to repeat what he says? He says, only the lonely, only the poor, the needy, the crushed in spirit. If I came with a crowd of people that were like me and we were beating the drum and having a good old time, we wouldn't be crushed in spirit. When I finally get to hang out with other people that are talking this same thing, I might do a backflip, which would be hard for me. I can't even do a cartwheel, but something spectacular is gonna go down. Best believe. And so, if you think about it, it couldn't be that way. We couldn't come in that way. We couldn't come in like the first quote unquote Exodus. And he said it wouldn't be like that. He said, no more will you say that the Most High is the one led us out of Egypt by fire and all this. He said one by one he's going to draw them from the lands of the north. It has to be one by one because we're not all together in one little area as slaves. But don't get it twisted. We're all slaves, and even worse, more so now than what they were back then. At least back then they knew they were slaves. Now the majority believe they're free. They don't have a clue that they're slaves. So we're coming out of slavery. But he said, and we're coming from all the four corners of the earth. And so more than likely, there's probably other people like me spitting the same message from the same place or similar, and it's made to where we can't see one another because this is the truth. And it could be too that I'm the only one here and I'm the first of, I'm like the first fruit to get here. And if that's the case, it's not going to be, you won't be able to say that I was the first one here because I'm smarter than other people or any of that. The only thing that you could say was I was more childlike. I was childlike enough to just do it. And before I pulled the trigger on that one, I kept looking at it. And if for any of you subs that's been here for a while, you know what I'm talking about. There was, I've talked about this for a long time, but it was only till somewhat recently that I actually put my childlike faith into action when it came to this. And I've said it, and I'll say it again. It was the best decision I've ever made. And I've been rewarded with beyond spectacular miracles and wonders. I used to say before I made that decision that the Most High takes me by the hand. He wine and dines me. Well, I hadn't seen anything until I took the first step. Now he dances with me every day. We do the two-step, baby, every day. He reads my mind. It's just like that scripture where he says, no more will you not have to hear his voice. When you want to know if you need to go right, you'll hear him behind you say, yeah, go ahead and go right. It's like that, but even more amazing. He finishes my sentences for me. It's amazing. And like I'll keep saying, it's not because of anything. I haven't earned this because I'm a good person, because I'm not. I haven't earned this because I'm more educated in the Word than most. It's not for that reason. I may have read it more than other people's, but that's it. The hunger and thirst is the only thing. Before I let you go, I just want to say this is something that I was thinking about earlier and I forgot to mention. And this is for my beloved Mishpachah, because you know I love you. Just in case, if there is if you do, for some reason, still kind of hold out hope that if Trump gets in, reelected, that everything that you know's coming might get put on hold or anything like that, please don't put any faith in man, especially him. I mean, yeah, people can be forgiven, people can change, but I have shown you how he's all about the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. He's the one that made warp speed, and he designed the logo and the whole warp speed with the tree of the knowledge of good and evil in mind. That's why they crowned him king over there in that Israel, give him a big crown. His face is on the shekel. He's Kabbalah. He's a magician. That's why he uses the slogan, "Make America Great Again." MAGA. He's a MAGA-magician. Look it up if you haven't. But he could have changed here a year ago. He might not be like that anymore. It doesn't matter, because when we read in Revelations about the end, about the reward we're going to get, does it say that they, the 144 or whoever, they were helped by this president? Is there a human spoken about anywhere in there besides the 144? There isn't. There's Abba Yahuwah, the Messiah, the Lamb, the truth and the Word, and us, and that's it. Odds are, and they're pretty good odds, that any man or woman on this earth, they're not going to lighten, they're not going to slow this train down. They're not going to soften the fall any, not one bit. Especially someone who you have never even heard Yahuwah's name come out of their mouth, and you've only seen wicked, evil stuff, you know. Let the Christians, I mean, it's sad that they do it, but let them hold out hope for people like him, you know. And it's tempting, I'll admit, like this RFK. I find myself once in a while pondering the possibility that he could be someone that well, maybe he is for the people, because his dad and his uncle got shot in the head for things they said, but we don't know the truth of those matters. They could have owed someone money for all we know. We don't know. We've been told stories. Oh yeah, which reminds me of another thing I saw when I was in here looking at this, and this is just fun fact kind of stuff I want to show you. When I was looking at the 1144 stuff, I came across this article, archaeological dig was done over in Israel. And just, if you're someone who, I didn't have to explain what those numbers meant, and I don't have to tell you to not go vote for Trump and all those kind of things, you're gonna notice the wording in here. And if you're someone who wonders how could they lie to us about where the land is, where Israel is, Yasharal, how could they do it? It plumb easy. Just like they're going to do this next pandemic. People say that they couldn't take the guns from the people here in America. They could take them from them. Probably wouldn't take them a week if they really wanted to. Yeah, there'll be some left behind, but they'll make them put masks on, and they'll make them slowly, one by one, roll their sleeves. The only ones that won't will be the ones that make it. These people, all they speak is lies. They know how they're good at lying. And the majority believes these lies because they take everything they say at face value, and they don't do much. They don't inquire much of anything they say. So just look at this article. It says, blood red walls of Roman amphitheater unearthed near Armageddon in Israel. Ground penetrating radar is revealing the secrets of a Roman legion camp near Tel Megiddo, including the ancient camp's amphitheater for combat training. And here's a picture of it, an aerial view of the amphitheater. Note the two circular walls with the outer one representing the second expanded phase of the building, image, whatever. I can't say that word for some reason tonight. Archaeologists, in Israel have found a blood red combat arena at Legio, a massive military base that housed Rome's ironclad legion in the 2nd century. The team found the military camp and its arena designed not for theater entertainment, but for combat training. Notice how they know for sure. They're saying this is from what, 1800 years ago? And look, no one notices this, but look at how they talk about these things. Like they know for sure what this was used for. And it's 1800 years old. People can't remember what happened last week. Just like the mask. It's like they've forgotten what happened here a couple years ago. They might talk a big tough game, but when push comes to shove, they'll be threatening you with bodily harm for you to comply like they did. These people, there's no way they could know. Yeah, that LiDAR thing, it might be real. It might be. But if you read in these articles, and almost every one, when they say they unearth these things with LiDAR, watch how they explain it. Designed not for theater entertainment, but for combat training near Megiddo, also known as Armageddon, the place where the Christian Bible foretells the battle at the end of the world will commence. The 1800-year-old Roman camp lies beneath the agriculture fields of Kibbutz Megiddo in Jezreel Valley. Legio was rediscovered between 1998 and 2000 through preliminary archaeological surveying. Excavations revealing the perimeter of the military base and the Principa, or headquarters, and its surrounding structures have taken place since 2010. During excavations this summer, a team of archaeologists more thoroughly investigated the Principa, or whatever. This portion of the military compound includes an administrative center. They knew it was an administrative center there. Religious structures. Outside the walls of the base, a cemetery and an amphitheater have been discovered, thanks in part to an innovative technology called ground penetrating radar. With this technique, researchers are able to non-invasively survey and study features that lie beneath the soil, including roads, courtyards, and buildings, by using a machine that sends pulses of high-frequency radio waves underground. No doubt. I mean, they probably do have a machine like that, but don't be surprised if they don't. Don't be surprised if one day you find out that this is all BS, that they really didn't have that. But yeah, they probably have something like that. They probably can see roads and structures. But how in the world would they know what those structures were for? A cemetery, yes, because there'll be dead bodies there. But how are they going to know what a building was used for and who it was that built it? Courtyards and buildings by using a machine that sends pulses of high-frequency radio waves underground. The team can then map the pulses that return, giving them a blueprint of what lies beneath the surface. During the 23 season, the researchers led by Eileen Ernoween, a geoscientist at East Tennessee State University, towed a GPR system behind the vehicle. Despite the team's progress and about half of Legio remains to be charted with GPR and subsequently excavated. And there, I guess I didn't take the big enough picture. It's just a little thing that they pull behind the truck. The ensuing dig exposed the remnants of the structures and defined them more clearly. For instance, the amphitheater for troop combat training had the remnants of a unique decorative choice, blood red paint adorning the stone walls. This kind of amphitheater for the Army, not the general public, has not been found before in the region. Hasn't been found. Co-director of the Legio excavations and director of the Center for the Mediterranean World, a nonprofit. No, it's a nonprofit. Coincidentally, based in Tucson, Arizona, told Life Science in an email. 2 different circular walls were exposed, indicating that the building underwent an expansion at some point. They even know if it got remodeled. There ain't no way they could know all that. There's no way. The only way they could know that is if they found, and they were being honest, they found something that had been written on with the date, with an old date on it that said, where you're standing on top of an amphitheater that was used for this, this, and this, and this, and it's shaped just like this. And then if you dug into it and looked at it, and it matched what the inscription was saying in the same spot, then you could more confidently claim that that's what that was. But if you notice, these Smithsonian types, these museums and historical whatevers, all their claims that they make, you can tell that they really didn't know what the stuff, what they're looking at, but they sure do want you to believe what they're saying. Just like it's like the scientist or NASA or Neil Tyson, deGrasse, when they're talking about stars, you could look up at a star and they'll say that's a star that was a supernova over 200 million years ago, and it's a trillion million light years away, and we're just now seeing it. On that star is water and iron and gold, like they know what's up there. And so you have to ask the question. It has to be asked. If these guys are that smart, they've got master degrees and all these things, PhDs, how is it that they could sit and tell you that to your face, that they know the facts about something when it's impossible? Wouldn't you think, being how they're that educated, they would say we speculate, we assume or suppose that this is what's up there, this is what this is. But when they tell you, when they talk to you like they know the facts about something that there's no way they could, it's an agenda. They have a narrative to push. How they sold us the false image of the beast was super simple, and if you always remember the fact that Abba is responsible for all of it anyway, so it should be a no-brainer for you. It should be easy to figure out, or easy to accept that it was done to the world. And then you read in scripture all over the place that would be done. It's then you look at it like I do now, and it's like, oh well, yeah, duh. And like I said, I think I said this lady one day, she was arguing with me on Facebook about it, and she said, and I couldn't believe she said this, she said, what benefit could the enemy, meaning Satan, possibly gain from lying to us about where the set apart place is? And I said, ma'am, you didn't really just ask me that question, did you? And she even caught herself. She's like, oh, yeah, I guess I probably shouldn't have asked that question. She still don't believe it, but for real. And what's even more absurd is that people still believe that he wouldn't lie, that it wouldn't be hidden, that they know that that's the place. Like, that's not a lie. Like it's just impossible that could be the case. Like, there's no way that we would be lied to about where the Holy Land is. Like, it didn't surprise me one bit when I saw that video the other day that I showed parts of, where they were putting together those Egyptian monuments over there, all those big faces and stuff, those petroglyphs or hieroglyphs, whatever you want to call them. Those were made in a factory somewhere. They were taking their shovels and throwing sand up on it to make it look more authentic. It didn't surprise me one bit. Now that I've been seeing that this is their business, they are in fact Freemasons, and a Mason is a worker of stone and all those things. That's what he does, and that's spoken of in scripture too. The craftsman. So it's absurd for, when you hear people, especially when someone that you would think would know better, to say those things, that they'll say, no, that's, I've seen it. Like Mount Rushmore, like they know why they did it. If you look at pictures of Mount Rushmore, you can see that was concrete, that they poured concrete out there. You could see it all dripped and ran down the side. And why would they do that? Why would they go out there and do that in the middle of nowhere, spend all that money back in those days when everyone was supposedly broke? Why would they go through all that trouble to put the statues up there on a mountain that the natives held as sacred? They called it the Six Grandfathers. I haven't looked into why they did, but I know that is what it is named. And I know that the natives, whoever that lives there, like threw a fit and protested them doing it. But just like most things, these bullies managed to elbow their way right on in. Just like over there in Israel. I've posted tons of articles and stuff, and I still have them. I can share them with you. What really went on around 1948 and before that, when they first started to eyeball that piece of land and they started to set it up, there was so much bloodshed. Innocent women, widows, old ladies, and children and stuff got killed and threw out of their homes and robbed, and you can clearly see that it was all a lie. They told that lie for multiple reasons. They told that lie so they would have an excuse to go there and do that, because that piece of land is strategic for them in moving merchandise, oil and stuff through the Mediterranean. So it is profitable to those Rothschilds and them type of people. But they did it too to fool everybody. Just like this pandemic and all this and the jab and stuff, now I see that it's a sleight of hand too. Yeah, they want to get you, stick you with it, and kill you. They want to reduce the population. They want to monitor you, because them people are listening to the 144. They're trying to catch them. The word tells us the dragon opened his mouth and tried to snatch the male child. The 144, he's wroth with them. So yeah, they want to monitor you. They want to chip you and your children, all that kind of stuff, because they know what time it is and what's coming. And it's like they, it's mastermind kind of stuff. It's like, we'll take this piece of land over here, and yeah, we might have to kill a lot of people to steal it, but we'll tell them that it's our land and that it's Israel. They'll never know. Look, there's a salt like Dead Sea right here. It's perfect. It's the perfect candidate. We'll put it right here, and then we'll be able to move oil out of Saudi Arabia through the Mediterranean, out through the Straits of Gibraltar, and we won't have to take it around the Horn of Africa to get it to Europe and America. And we'll tell them that it's our inheritance, and the world will support us in murdering all these people and stealing this land, building this house on bloodshed and unrighteousness. They'll never know. They'll make Facebook posts to say that they stand with us while we're raping and pillaging. Every once in a while we'll put a telemarketer TV ad on their TV screen and make them feel sad about hungry people, and they'll even donate towards the cause, as we're robbing them too. And they'll never know where the true set apart place is. Actually, when anyone tries to tell them where the true set apart place is, they'll laugh and mock and scoff them. They might even kill them for it, like they did the prophets. I mean, it's mastermind shit, and that's not even the half of it. But like I said, I'll say it again, Abba, what's the word he uses? He doesn't say whirl. He counsels it all for his own purpose. And when you see the big purpose in that, that's what's so amazing too, because just like all these truths, finding these truths, it's not just for anybody. It's not for the faint of heart. He knew that only a select few would have the testicular fortitude to even go look for these things. So those people who will look for it and find it, they'll be the right kind of candidates for the 144. That's why it says, when it's talking about outside the city, it says the cowardly. Those who love and do falsehood. Yep. Those who have the mark of the beast on their forehead or on their arm. It's clear to see. They live for the beast. They live for the lies, the falsehood. They might not want to lie and speak falsehood, but they're not going to go out and set themselves out to pursue truth, if it's going to cause them to look bad or make themselves stand out. They don't want to do that. They'll go along with the crowd. So that's the mark of the beast. They'll talk about the Messiah or the Most High and the Ten Commandments and all that stuff. They'll repair the breach, but just slightly. But they're not gonna go too far, because then no one will want to talk to them. They won't have no one to preach to. They won't have no friends. Their children's friends as parents will think they're nuts and all kinds of stuff. So they wear that mark on their forehead and on their hand for us to clearly see. We can clearly see it. Will they put a chip in your right hand or your forehead? Probably. Will it be evil? Yes. Should you take it? Hell no. Could they do that because they want to kill you and they want you to believe that that's the mark? So you'll be distracted, you'll be led astray, and you won't realize what the real mark is? Yeah. Oh, they'll definitely do that. And please don't pretend that they wouldn't and try to act like that can't happen. Like, no, this is the jab is the mark. It's not. It's not literal. It's not. Almost everything said in that book, and most books in the scripture, are not literal. Almost every time it says the sword, it's not talking about the sword. And if he wants you to know that he's being literal and talking about an actual battle or like a war where people die with real swords, he lets you know. He knows how to speak and what words to use and not use. And that's how we have to read the word. We have to understand that that's how it is. It's not for just anyone. You gotta want it. You gotta hunger. You gotta want to get on the bus. Gus, I love you. If you didn't already know that, I hope you do see the rain if you don't already. And you hunger and you thirst to enter in. I'm out. Bye.